Alright, hi, I'm Blake, back again with another video, and this is...
Alexis. I'm Blake's mom.
What do you do?
I used to be a member of the New Hampshire State House of Representatives. I was on the House Agriculture Committee, Agriculture and Environment Committee, and I'm looking forward to talking with Blake today.
Alright, so, first question. What kind of bills in the NH House of Representatives involving agriculture were passed while you were there?
That's a great question, Blake. There were actually a lot of bills that were passed through the Agriculture Committee in the 2 years that I was in the House. I'd like to talk about a couple of them that were really important for local agriculture. I know that you've already talked to a local farmer here in the area, and we were able in the Ag Committee to actually make a difference in the lives of some of our local farmers in New Hampshire. There was one bill in particular that talked about agritourism and made agritourism more accessible to more farmers in New Hampshire. I don't know if all of you out there know, but it's hard to make a living as a farmer these days, and getting harder and harder. We're losing a lot of our local family farms around the country. And that's true some in New Hampshire as well. And one of the things that farmers have been doing to keep their farms going is to rely on other revenue streams or other sources of income besides just selling their crops or their livestock. So one of the things that they've been doing is coming up with unique ways to invite people onto their farms. And we haven't had any rules, any real laws that have been very specific to agritourism, at least in a way that is responsive to the communities that support farming, as well as to the farmers themselves, to the farmers' neighbors, and to the people who want to be on the farms. So now we passed a bill that makes it much more possible for farmers to host people on their farm. And every time that a person comes on a farm, whether it's for a wedding or a dinner or a hayride, then that person is much more likely to buy products that are made by that farm. I just went to a farm dinner recently in a town nearby, and there was the farm store right at the end of the driveway, open and selling all of the produce that that farm had created. And that was really exciting to me to see that that bill have real results in farmers' lives.
Cool. Next question. What are GMOs and how do they affect the way crops are grown and treated?
GMOs. Well, this is a complicated question. I'll give a little bit of a response here, but I'll try not to get too deep into the weeds, so to speak. GMO stands for genetically modified organisms, and these have been not in the news as much lately. There has been some federal legislation. Some people in Washington are working on what labeling would look like for food products with genetically modified organisms in them. And so we haven't been talking as much legislatively about that lately. But genetically modified organisms, for decades and decades and hundreds of years, we, as a people, have been taking seeds and hybridizing them, taking seeds from one plant and putting them together with seeds from another plant and coming up with new breeds. But genetically modified organisms actually change the seed in a different way that we've not done until recently in the last 30 or so years. And so there's not a lot of independent long-term testing on what the results of these particular kinds of seeds have on people's lives and on their long-term health. So that's one of the things that has concerned people. We're looking for more testing on that. But we also are looking at GMOs because a lot of seeds are genetically modified to resist different herbicides and to resist different pests. and that is has made for a lot of increase in pesticides in our waterways and things like that. And so people have gotten nervous about the sort of increased usage of certain pesticides as genetically modified organisms have become more and more used in most of our corn crops, most of our soybean crops. And those are two of our big commodity crops here in the country. So that's a little bit about GMOs. I wish I had some diagrams I could show you, maybe for a later video.
Someday. How many people on the House Agriculture Committee were for or against mandatory GMO labeling?
So we voted on mandatory GMO labeling as a House Agriculture Committee for many years now, way before I got on the House Agriculture Committee. And the last time was in 2016, and I believe at that time there were 12 people on the House Committee who voted against mandatory labeling, and 7 people who voted for mandatory labeling. And then, like I said, since then it's become a federal issue, so it's not really at the forefront of state legislators at this time.
All right. What does NOFA New Hampshire do?
NOFA New Hampshire. So I used to be on the board of NOFA New Hampshire, the Northeast Organic Farming Association of New Hampshire, and they are a nonprofit that supports organic farmers and farming and gardening throughout the state.
All right. How do they help the local and organic farming community?
They help the local and organic farming community in a number of ways. Primarily, they are teachers. They educate people on how to grow crops in your garden or in your farm without using synthetic chemicals. So they teach different ways that you can address pests and fungus, and because make no mind, these are huge problems in gardening and farming. Pests are a problem, and we need ways to treat them. But what NOFA does is teaches people how to treat them with the fewest number of chemicals possible. And what else do they do? They also promote local agriculture in general. So they support local farmers in whatever way they can. They are also recently involved in doing some outreach into the community to try to make it more possible for folks of any income level to have access to fresh fruits and vegetables.
All right, and that stands for Northeast Organic Farmers Association. All right, that's every question. That was detailed and educational. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Bye.